Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, we will discuss as to like what you can expect in the Q2 FY26 season, especially the hospital space. Now, why am I doing this video is because you might see already Q2 FY26 ka update aane laga, right? Which is not the result will start from October 15th, but until that, especially the first 2 weeks, you will see that companies will start posting updates. Specifically, if you talk about it, will be banks, आपका jewelry space and आपका retail का space. You might have seen already in retail V2 retail is leading the race, right? If you've gotten the investment checklist workshop, you already know how to analyze and do things. Now, why am I making this specific video is because a lot of y'all, might be working, right? Y'all have a lot of things going on in life. So you might have read Q1 FY26, you might have watched my videos also in Q1 FY26, but you might have forgotten. There could be, some, little, not, the memory could not be that sharp. So as a result, I'm doing this video so tomorrow, when Q2 FY26 ka results come, right, especially from October 15th, when we are going to have full-fledged, result season come up, that time you will know what exactly to look for, especially in this hospital ka space. Okay. Now, if you remember, this is going to be both a summary of the Q1 FY26 plus, like I told you, what to look forward to in Q2 FY26 ka hospital sector. I might end up doing for other sectors also, but let us see for Q2 FY26 अभी hospital sector में क्या आप देख सकते हो and what you can expect and how do you know which company will do well. Okay, what are the things to look forward to? Now, first thing first, in the hospital sector you should remember is, if you look at every sector, उनका एक season होता है, एक quarter होता है where it is that quarter is very seasonally strong. Like for example, अगर आप jewelry sector को देखते हो, Q3 is the best season, right? Because that is when we are going to have Diwali, and then a lot of weddings happen, because the weather that is there is great, so we are going to see a lot of wedding dates, a lot of purchase will happen. So this time again, so just like how Q3 is the best season for all jewelry companies, and Q2 is a lean quarter for them, because in Q2 we have rainy season, so walk-ins thoda kam hota hai. In Q2 also we have this Ashada, which is a very inauspicious time to buy high ticket items, or to do any kind of functions, right? So we see the lowest number of wedding date also. So Q2 is a lean quarter for jewelry space, and Q3 is the best quarter. Similarly, अगर आप बात करते हो hospitals में, Q2 is the best quarter. Okay, like it is the best quarter out of the all four quarters. Now, why is this? Because in Q2 we have rainy season, right? Because आपका Q2 का months क्या है? July, August, September, which is peak rainy season in India. Now, when rainy season happens या monsoons होता है, it carries a lot of diseases, right? We, especially during rainy season, we see a lot of prevalent diseases, a lot of infections are there, a lot of airborne contaminations का diseases होता है, and then we have this waterborne diseases, you have this mosquito related diseases such as malaria, dengue and everything. And certain times people get admitted also, like you'll see the highest number of dengue cases, especially in the month of July and August, and you'll see people get admitted also because of because of this. So as a result, Q2 becomes because of this entire monsoon season, and it carries a lot of diseases during this time, we see Q2 is the best quarter for the entire hospital space. Because otherwise you will see it is general आपका ये जो hospital का surgeries होता है and everything, but Q2 will also get an onset of new infections, new diseases, and with that your आपका beds get occupied and everything. So Q2 is the best season. So you might see over here, do not compare आपका QOQ result, do not compare Q1 with Q2, and don't compare Q2 with Q3 and do a QOQ का comparison, because अगर आप QOQ करोगे then everything will look better only. So always make sure you check year on year over here, Q2 of last year with Q2 of this year. This is the first thing. Okay, and now we will talk about what to expect, because अगर आप देखते हो पूरा का पूरा hospital space में, we have almost 4 to 5 hospital that are really there pulling up their socks and and playing the game. The first hospital we have is Yatharth, then we have Max Healthcare Institute, we have KIMS, we have Medanta, right? These are the 4 hospitals that that are actually they have a chance to grow more than 20% and compete in the race. Other than that, we have Jina Seco, which is pap of everybody, but I can't compare Jina with Yatharth or Max or anything, because uska business model jo hai, it is completely different from the, although they are also the hospital space, the business model is completely different from the other. But just to give you a summary what to expect for Jina over here in this upcoming upcoming quarter, that is in Q2 of FY26, is a minimum of a 50% का growth rate, because उनका guidance क्या है? Guidance is to achieve 50% growth rate from last year to this year. If you look at Q1 has been stunning. Okay, the other thing you have to look for in Gina is they have to do 2000 beds, I mean not 2000, sorry, 3000 beds in total by the end of this year. Already I think they have in Q1 they have done 2179 beds हुआ है, right? There were around 300 360 odd beds in pipeline in Q1 we saw. So all of those bed also has to get operationalized, so they have to inch up. I can tell you they have to inch up to that that 3000 number. So somewhere around 2400 500 is something that we should be able to see. Okay, and obviously somewhere between 20 to 22% ka pat margin, so they can inch up to around 180 to 225 crore ka pat in this year, because we need operating leverage as well as the growth rate that is there. That is something you can expect with Gina. But other than that, unka recently you will see with Gina C ko kya hua hai, there is this Bharat Conference Connect bol ke, where these people organize. It's basically like a conference only, where people instead of just investors discussing, it is the management that comes and talks about the company, kya ho raha hai us company mein, and everything. And Gina ka Acharya Manish also participated in it, and I think this is his third year of participating, because I remember even last year he took part in this conference. And in that conference he told something. He told कि like इस साल जो है, that is they will be doing that same 180 to 225 crore, somewhere between 20 to 25% pat margin as mentioned in the con call. But an interesting factor that he mentioned was आगे जाके, that is in FY27, they're targeting a 350 crore in terms of pat 350 crore, and in FY28 they're targeting a pat of 500 crore. Even if I assume that they're doing 180 to 225 crore, and from that in this year pat, and next year they will do somewhere 350 crore, that's literally a 50% jump in terms of pat, right? So great. I mean if they are able to pull that off, there is, this could be like the next 10x that is there. Okay, so that is the thing. And a lot of people were also asking, is it even possible, is it even possible for them to achieve this kind of pat numbers that are there? If they continue the execution, that is in terms of bed, because you have to keep adding the bed capacity, right? Because hospital में एक problem है is that the occupancy is limited, right? So in order for you to continue to grow, you have to add the beds. And उन्होंने क्या बोला था conference में, in the Q1 का conference में, that probably in the next 3 to 5 years they're targeting 10,000 beds. अभी कितना है beds? 2,180 beds that are there, and they're targeting कितना 10,000 beds in the span of 3 to 5 years. If they're able to do this bed addition, along with that bed addition, if they're able to keep the expenses low, and उसके वजह से pat margin बढ़ता जाता है, even if the pat margin is not increasing, if it can sustain somewhere between 20 to 25%, which is the current pat margin, आराम से they will be able to do 350 to 500 crore. Because अभी क्या हो रहा है, business model में थोड़ा change आ रहा है. Earlier what they used to do, they would go acquire a hospital or construct a hospital from scratch, right? That was their business model. अभी क्या कर रहा है, these people are going to this Ayurvedic medical colleges. So Ayurvedic medical colleges में क्या है, already there is this hospitals now that they will have these hospitals where they treat patients freely, because the students have to get experience. Now those hospitals are not being utilized properly, so they're going and acquiring these medical college का hospitals. So उनका यहाँ पे capex is very low, because they don't have to construct anything, they don't have to, everything is full-fledged there. License is also there with most hospitals. All they have to do is go put their team, train the management, and and start the work, right? And here also और एक चीज क्या है, they don't have to hire the doctors. Already the doctors are there, so you don't have to give even more special training for them also. So because of this, you will see, since the capex that is there, the incremental capex that is going to happen in this year and the upcoming year, right? Especially in H2 of this year and the upcoming year, जो incremental capex होने वाला है, that is relatively lower compared to what it was in the previous years. That's what gives me the confidence यहाँ पे कि like आगे जाके the pat margin still has a chance to either it sustain the traditional 22% ka pat margin, which is the business ka margin, yeah, like what we have witnessed in Q1 of FY26, 29% ka pat margin jo tha, even that can sustain. So if that happens, I don't see why they can do that 500 crores by FY27 and 350 crores by FY27 and 28 respectively. So let's see, let's hope for the best. But I think Q2 is going to be really great for this company, because अगर आप जाके एक भारत कॉन्फ्रेंस कनेक्ट में चिल्ला के बोल रहे हो कि like भाई मैं 350 450 crores करूंगा, 500 crore करूंगा, then Q2 must have gone really well for you. Okay, so that's on Gina. Now, other than that, let's talk about the other few hospitals that are there. That is Yatharth, Max, Kims, and Medanta, which is Global Health, which is literally fighting, to be on the top. But if you look at it right now, on the top में कौन है? Max and Yatharth, which is neck to neck competition चल रहा है. And the advantage that Yatharth has over Max is a lower valuation because उसका base छोटा and everything. Okay, but Max is also not giving up, right? Max का अगर आप देखते हो, मतलब भाई साहब, it is at 1 lakh crore का market cap and they're doing इतना सारा capex. You will also see Max continues to grow at a very high growth rate. यहाँ पे 30% का growth rate ही कर रहा है. And यहाँ पे in this quarter they do not have any bed or any hospitals that is operationalizing, right? In for Max, because Max का अगर आप देखते हो last time उनका एक द्वारका में था एक hospital that got operationalized. In Q1 in Mohali उनका एक 160 bed hospital था which went for trial run. So hopefully, if I hope, maybe in Q2 that Mohali का hospital will go live. But उनका other than that इस साल का जो भी hospital आने वाला है, it will come at the end of Q2, not in Q2, end of Q2. उनका Max Saket, Max Nanavati, Max Vikrant, लखनऊ में एक hospital है, गुड़गांव में hospital है, which is लखनऊ का hospital is 400 bed, गुड़गांव का hospital is 530 beds, Nanavati is around 400, Max Saket is I think around 260 bed hospital. So these hospitals are going to go live either in the end of Q2 or that is starting of Q3 or by the end of this year, that is maybe end of Q4. So they don't have any more new beds that is there, like how we have seen in Q1 and in Q4 that is coming up. Abhi jo existing already jo ho chuka hai live in the previous quarters, that has to reach peak occupancy for them to do. So I think in that case they should also be able to do somewhere between 25 to 30% ka growth rate, providing if it is Q2 is really well, because I think this Q2 will be well because we've seen that the monsoon that is there, it has prolonged for a very long period of time. And I think this is a very interesting thing about the market, right? Like how one situation becomes a boon for a sector but a bane for another sector. Like when we talk about this insane monsoons that we've had, right? Like crazy monsoons, right? Like we're still in October and it's raining in Bangalore even today. I mean, monsoon usually ends in like August or September, and we're seeing even in October it is raining. And the more the rain, the more infections. I know it's really terrible, I feel bad telling this. More the rain, more the infection, more mosquito related diseases, more revenue that the hospital makes. On the other hand, if you see, the same rain has washed out completely the AC ka demand that is there this year, right? So it is a completely two different, like one situation but two different scenarios for both of it. So Max jo hai, Max can probably uska jo aage jaake the more effect will come probably by the end of Q2, because Q3 and Q4 they will have a lot more beds and hospitals coming up, right? That is there, because right now if you see they have around 5,400 beds, and this year they might be adding around 1,200 to 1,300 beds, and by FY29 they are planning to reach, in the next 4 years they want to double the bed capacity, almost 5,400 say they want to reach 10,000 beds that is there. So this is why I find Max really remarkable. But unfortunately with Max, what is the thing is, although you will see a lot of people ask like is growth rate everything, you will need growth with operating leverage over here, because think about it, right? Aapka P is already is at 60 to 70. Now 70 P ke liye, 70 80 P ke liye I'm paying 25-30% ka growth engine. Now if I have to sustain that, if I have to make it feel valued, that kind of deal, then my EPS also needs to grow at that same rate, because the EPS, if it grows, then the PE becomes cheaper now. But here the problem is itna capex chal raha hai ki EPS is not growing at all, right? And right, every hospital, when you put up a new hospital, it takes at least a year or two for you to reach a break even level. So jab aap itna every saal aap itna hazar bed add kar rahe ho, so this is a problem with Max. The Max ka problem is, although it is growing at a very fast rate, it is a leader over here. Unfortunately, because of that EPS ka growth, EPS ka growth utna ho nahi raha hai, and EPS ka there is no what do you tell, there is no clarity when the EPS ka growth will be there. That is a little bit of a hindrance. But here is the thing, this time compared to Max, who's going to do well is it's Yatharth, because Yatharth ka kya scene hone wala hai, Yatharth ka bhi do hospital will be live in Q2. One is Faridabad ka hospital, which is a 400 bedded hospital, and a 300 bedded hospital in Delhi, right? Both of this hospital was supposed to go live in July and August of this year, which is Q2 ka month. Already Yatharth के पास सिर्फ एक ही hospital था, which is the Faridabad फरीदाबाद हॉस्पिटल ऑफ लास्ट ईयर, उन्होंने उस हॉस्पिटल में 10% का ऑक्यूपेंसी था इन लास्ट ईयर, एंड दिस Q1 इट वाज 50% ऑक्यूपेंसी. अलॉन्ग विद दैट ये दोनों आ गया तो उसका तो भाई ग्रोथ रेट तो दमादर, आई थिंक we should expect probably 30%. I think there is a lot of expectations with Yatharth to do more than 30% because of the two hospitals that are going live. अगर वो 30% से कम करता है ना, then market will not leave it, okay, because there is a lot of expectations baked into it because two hospitals will go live in one quarter itself, and they've acquired another hospital also recently, एक 160 to 200 bedded hospital in that Delhi NCR region. But I think we will get to know more about it in the con call, when it will go live, what is this case and everything. But right now in Q2 we need to see that the existing two hospital that went live in July and August respectively, that needs to bump up the numbers. मतलब पूरा का पूरा 30% का शेयर बन के आपको मार्केट में Q2 का रिजल्ट लाना पड़ेगा, and along with operating leverage if they get now, they will be fucking unstoppable, and that will be the end of Max in this quarter if they are able to do it, because Max को कुछ भी है नहीं अभी, right, in Q2. So but अगर Max अच्छा करता है, because see, like I'm telling you, Max doesn't have anything going, that any big hospital going live in this upcoming quarter in Q2. अगर Max करता है 30% and Yatharth भी सिर्फ 30% करता है, then it becomes a problem. Yatharth must grow greater than that of Max. अगर Max करता है 30, Yatharth at least has to 31-32% for it to reach, because वरना what is the point? Like somebody who's at like 20x more of your size is growing at the same rate as you, then what is your advantage, right? So this is a thing, because a lot of expectation now it is there because of these two hospitals that went live in Yatharth, for Yatharth in the last 2 months, कि like this has to beat Max that is there. Then we have KIMS and Medanta. KIMS का प्रॉब्लम है, इवन KIMS हैज टू हॉस्पिटल्स दैट विल गो लाइव. उनका दो हॉस्पिटल है इन बैंगलोर विच इज 350 बेड एंड 400 बेड का हॉस्पिटल. एक ऑन्कोलॉजी सेंटर है इन विच इज ऑफ 250 बेड का एक कैंसर सेंटर है विच विल गो लाइव, एंड दैट विल गिव देम प्रोबेबली समवेयर बिटवीन 25 to 30% का ग्रोथ रेट. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज KIMS का बिग प्रॉब्लम इज द बॉटम लाइन, बिकॉज ये KIMS का क्या है ना, these people are going, they're constructing a hospital from scratch, because of which, see, there is no problem, there is no right or wrong over here whether you go acquire a hospital like how Yatharth is doing, या वरना you go and construct a hospital from scratch, like मतलब आप greenfield करो. There is no problem in either of the model. But the thing is, as a shareholder, you make a lot more money when आपका if a hospital is going and acquiring a hospital, because then the break even होने में, the EBITDA break even होने में, it takes lesser time compared to, let's say, if it's a greenfield hospital, because it takes a lot more time for you to to recuperate your cost that is there compared to your the normal brownfield or आपका जो acquisitions होता है. That is where Yatharth is winning, because आपका downtime that is there, every hospital is reaching a break even within 1 year, right? They're becoming net profitable in next 2 years. So occupancy is reaching faster, so shareholder के लिए EPS का growth is way faster. वरना यहाँ पे क्या होता है in case of Max and in case of KIMS, since lot of them are a greenfield facilities, right? By the time they reach break even, it takes 2 to 3 years, 4 years, and then it gets reflected in the bottom line. By the time it gets reflected in the bottom line, the growth is gone in the top line, right? So it's like a catch-22 situation. और एक चीज KIMS का मैं बोल सकती हूँ यहाँ पे, it is very imperative that these facilities go live, because most of these facilities were supposed to go live in Q4 of the what is this, Q4 of FY25. उन्होंने डिले करके Q4 बोला था, फिर Q1 हुआ, अभी Q2 हो रहा है. So आपको देखना पड़ेगा in KIMS also कि like ये जो बैंगलोर का facility है, this whatever the facility is coming up, there is no delay that is there, and we'll have to see if it can compete with Max and Yatharth, because abhi, like I told you, Yatharth has won the race in the last quarter, right? Because although it was a 22% and Max was greater, like I told you, Yatharth के पास सिर्फ एक hospital था. मतलब think about it, एक one villain is coming with like 10 bodyguards, and hero के पास सिर्फ वो सिर्फ अपना है, और वो एक बंदा 10 बंदे को गुस्सा मारता है. That is a competition with Yatharth and Max. Yatharth is that hero जिसके पास सिर्फ वो ही है, और Max के पास 10 और people are there, bodyguards are there, because Max had so many hospitals, whereas Yatharth had only one hospital for them to take them to glory. And with that one hospital they did 22%, versus Max with so many hospitals did around 20 to 29%. इसलिए आपको समझ में आ गया ना कि like market ने Yatharth को इतना भाव क्यों दिया compared to Max. Now अगर उसको भाव मिलना जरूरी है, मतलब if they if they need that kind of the same bhav for in Q2 Q3 and going forward, then the upcoming quarter, that is that they also have to beat max, because the entire time market has been thinking कि like भाई इसने तो एक hospital से 22% का growth किया, right? So imagine if two hospitals will go live in the upcoming quarter, क्या कर सकता है ये? And that too, this is a seasonally best quarter Q2, right? That is the thing. The like I told you, the problem with Kim's also is unka, since these people are putting up a lot of greenfield facilities, the bottom line that is there, that is going to be a little bit impacted, because unka in Q1 of FY26 they went live with the Thane hospital, and they're telling it might take 2 to 3 years for them to break even. So, and with the upcoming capex that is there and everything, probably that bottom line ka visibility is not much. But only thing what you can expect, see, first of all, the competition is only between Max and Yatharth all this while. Kims has a chance to beat Yatharth and compete with Max, but it all comes down to one thing: execution. Because until now, whatever the hospitals that were supposed to go live, there has been a delay. Okay, so if they can, and it is literally like they are also doing that same 25 to 27% in that growth rate only they do. So if they are able to inch up in that level, right, with Yatharth, then yes, why not? Even they stand a chance. Then the last hospital over here is Medanta, which is Global Health. Again, you will see there has been an increase in pace of growth from the in the last quarter. In Q1 you will see, right, for Medanta. Now with Medanta क्या होने वाला है? There is one hospital of theirs, Noida का hospital है, which is a 500 bedded hospital, which will go live in the upcoming quarter. Now this one hospital की वजह से उनको थोड़ा push मिल सकता है, and they can go back to that 25% का growth engine. But after this hospital, what? Nothing, because after this Noida ka hospital, which is a 500 bed hospital, but in phase 1 only 350 beds will go live. In phase 2 the rest 150 will go live. After this hospital goes live, there is no other new hospital for them that is coming up, because unka jo Mumbai ka project hai, Delhi ka project hai, all of this are again for Medantis, they are greenfield. They are just abhi unhone land they have purchased. Now land ka permission milke, construction ka permission chahiye. After that they will construct the hospital, provided there is no delay. So all the upcoming hospitals that is there after this Noida hospital, it will take another 2 to 3 years, provided unka koi bhi there is no hiccups in this construction phase, right? That is the thing. So only they'll have this Noida ka hospital. After that again Momaya they might become, again their growth rate might falter, unlike Yatharth Max. Because Yatharth and Max, it is not just about this quarter. This quarter they have a couple of, Yatharth has 2 hospitals that will go live. Again unka third hospital that they acquired recently between Q1 and Q2, that will go live. And then Yatharth has a brownfield capex coming up in their Noida hospital, which was started in 2010 2013, in that area. Max will continue to do capex for the upcoming 4 years, that is FY26, 27, 28, 29. They will be adding roughly, I think, around 1000 beds every year, because unka plan is to reach 5600 say 10,000 beds by FY29, and by FY30 FY32 they want to reach somewhere around 13,000 to 14,000 beds. So you see one thing, right? And similarly with Yatharth also, they've been very frank, they want to do acquisitions and they want to become the number one hospital in the Delhi NCR region. So you will see one thing that is very common compared to the other hospital with Yatharth and Max is that they're not only focusing on the current growth rate, मतलब अभी भी 25 to 30% करना ही है, but also आगे जाके भी 25 to 30% करना है. उसके लिए also they have laid out a really good plan. There is a runway for growth for both of these companies that is there. Now what we have to see is, will Yatharth beat Max again in this quarter with the two hospitals, and can it continue to beat or not in the upcoming quarters that is there? You will have to see, because if with two hospitals you cannot match up to the growth rate of Max, then that will be a little bit disappointing, you can tell, right? So that is the thing, dekhte hai, because Yatharth has uska re-rating bhi ho chuka hai abhi to a certain extent. So we will have to see ki, like if it can beat Max or not in the upcoming quarter. We will have to see kaisa chal raha hai ye do hospitals jo hai, Faridabad and Delhi ka hospitals jo hai, how is it going, kya occupancy chal raha hai, how is the response rate. On the other hand, we will have to see Max ka jo hospitals live hone wala hai, is it on track or not. That is the thing. It's going to be very neck to neck competition between both Max and Yatharth, and it will be very interesting to see how things will fold out. Only thing for you to watch out is who's doing better. Is Yatharth doing better than Max, or is Max doing better than Yatharth? That is it. And then the last thing you'll have to see is the Kims. Does Kim stand a chance to compete with Yatharth and Max? That is the only thing you'll have to see. And then we have Gina, which is bound to do well, I can say. मतलब this I think because again right, nobody will go, मेरा सिर्फ एक ही logic है यहाँ पे, it is called a bit called common sense, that nobody will not go and talk to all the shareholders a conference में जाके where there are millions of shareholders, reputable shareholders, and it is going to be recorded and be played million times, and you go there and tell 350 500 crore, and you can be questioned for it in the upcoming conference call and everything. Why would you want to go and अपना ही टिंडोरा क्यों पीटना है? That is the thing, right? So अपना ही टिंडोरा पीट रहे हो, मतलब something good is happening over there. So I think Q2 will be fantastic. And even if you look at the updates of Gina Seco, right, like if you see, you will see, right, they keep posting कि like ये hospital हमने acquire किया, ये hospital operational हो गया, this hospital got this NABH accreditation. You can just go check after the result season, after the con call till today, you will see there are so many hospitals for them that has gone live. That also gives me the confidence कि like Q2 will be great for Gina Seco. But yeah, that's that with the entire hospital space. Let's see who's winning the race, whether it's going to be Max or Yatharth with the two hospitals that will go live, or will it be Kim's who will who probably has a chance, stands a chance to compete with Max and also beat Yatharth. So the competition is mostly within these three players itself, not anybody else. Because other people, if you see, it's everybody, they might do probably well for that particular quarter, but aage jaake there is the runway for growth is very short, or it takes too long for them to reach a certain target. Unlike Max and Yatharth, who is doing both, execution bhi kar rahe hain, but with execution there is speed also, right, which is really helping the shareholders. So that is the thing. I hope you guys liked this video. I know it's a very long video, but unfortunately whenever I talk about hospitals, it ends up becoming a long video, because there are so many things to discuss. There are so many factors that are there. So yeah, yeah, that's that about today's video. I'll do another video tomorrow. It's regarding a healthcare company. They have been very bullish. Q1 result has been great, guidance is very top notch, and in Q2, before the Q2 result only, they have increased the guidance, in that conference call that is there. So let us see. I'll cover that company tomorrow, and that's it, guys. Have a great day. Bye.